I was doing my postdoctoral research, I written a letter to Honorable Prime Minister of India that I would like to translate my nanotechnology-based fertilizer, particularly nitrogen and phosphorus-based fertilizer for the farmers of India at no cost. And I did not charge anything for the technology. And today, I think millions of farmers are using it. I have seen the farmers struggle at the very first hand because I have born and raised at a farm field. So when I was in discussion with IFO or the government of India, or when I was writing letter to government of India, I was already having millions of dollars of offers with me that people are interested in my work and technology to hire me or take my technology to the commercial scale. But my intention was that how I can bring my technology or knowledge in a sustainable way so that farmers can afford it. In fact, when I written a letter to the Honorable Prime Minister, I mentioned that I will not charge, and this is my give back to my society or the country, because I did my schooling, masters, PhD, everything in the government school, and I understand that all those schools are running, all those facilities are running by the payment made by the Indian income taxpayers. So this was my responsibility to give back to the society and to the community where I belong, which is like a farming community. So this is I do, I sometimes in media people say it's free, but I feel that it is not free. I think the country made an investment in me so that I got educated in this great country and by the great teachers. And this is just a give back. I'm just giving back to the country as their investment, return on their investment. So I would say I could have earned more, but I would say that it's a return on investment to the country. And I feel satisfied that people are using it across the country, and most of the people are seeing the good results. So I'm very happy with that. Recently, I was looking at the response of Honorable Fertilizer Minister in the Parliament, in which he mentioned that the urea consumption is coming down this year. So that is a happy news that and because of implementation of nano urea, if the country's import is coming down and productivity is improving and nutritional quality is improving, that was the ultimate goal. And I think when it saves the import money or the other money being spent to import the fertilizer to the farmers, the same money goes to the farmers in different ways, in different schemes, and that is what the goal of sustainability, I think, in terms of urea. And if you see the use efficiency, which is just less than 50%, it means that if you put 100 pound of or 100 kilogram of fertilizer, the 50% of that actually going to the environment. And it is a very energy intensive process to manufacture those fertilizers, and when they goes to the environment, it is actually no use. It is polluting water, as you mentioned, and environment in terms of nitrous oxide emission.
Dr. Ramesh, welcome to our discussion. Thank you for joining.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on this.
Wonderful. You are such a great scientist. Because there are so many scientists, but there is a difference between Dr. Ramesh Raliya and others. We have a lot of questions for you, and also we would like to know more about your wonderful research. We'll start with nano urea. So you said that nano urea is a gift, say $1 billion gift to farmers. So can you explain to us?
Nano urea is a nitrogen fertilizer which is being translated in India initially by IFCO, but now through the licensing, several other companies are coming in. It is a nitrogenous fertilizer, and when I was doing my postdoctoral research at Washington University in St. Louis and working on different type of nanomaterials for agricultural use, I was having in my mind about people like my parents who is doing like farming, and every year they are putting more nitrogenous fertilizer like conventional urea, but their yield is more or less similar. And because when I born and brought up at farm field, I knew that uh, how people like my parents are struggling to increase their crop productivity and keeping the nutritional value of the crops. And when I studied the biology or plant science during my bachelor and master's and during my PhD, it was my understanding that how can I use my knowledge and skill to develop the technology or develop some pathways so that I can help people like them. So we developed this nano technology based nitrogen and phosphorus related work, and I have given this technology at no charge and cost. When I was doing my postdoctoral research, I written a letter to Honorable Prime Minister of India that I would like to translate my nanotechnology based fertilizer, particularly nitrogen and phosphorus based fertilizer for the farmers of India at no cost. And I did not charge anything for the technology. And today, I think millions of farmers are using it across the country. And recently, I was looking at the response of Honorable Fertilizer Minister in the Parliament, in which he mentioned that the urea consumption is coming down this year. So that is a happy news that and because of implementation of nano urea, if the country's import is coming down and productivity is improving and nutritional quality is improving, that was the ultimate goal. And I think when it saves the import money or the other money being spent to import the fertilizer to the farmers, the same money goes to the farmers in different ways in different schemes, and that is what the goal of sustainability, yeah, I think.
Oh, that is wonderful. Because nano, the bottle, in fact, we used to all through our life, we have seen urea bag or a DAP bag. But now one bottle of nano urea has replaced one bag of urea, isn't it? So the unnecessary and excessive usage, wasteful usage of fertilizer also will be reduced, as you very rightly said. So that has enormous repercussions in positive sense for environment also. Soil, water pollution, also air pollution will come down. The health of farmers and those agriculture workers who are working, it will be also improved. It's a phenomenal discovery, isn't it?
Yes, I believe it is a very important milestone. Yet we have to do a lot more work for other sectors because agriculture require a lot of different inputs like seeds, fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides. A lot of things required to manage the crop from seed germination to crop harvesting and reaching to the customer. But nitrogen is a very important crop nutrient because this is one of the major nutrient farmers are using. If we compare globally also, nitrogen is one of the most consumed nitrogenous fertilizer in terms of urea. And if we see the use efficiency, which is just less than 50%, it means that if you put 100 pound of or 100 kilogram of fertilizer, the 50% of that actually going to the environment. And it is a very energy intensive process to manufacture those fertilizers, and when they goes to the environment it is actually no use. It is polluting water as you mentioned and environment in terms of nitrous oxide emission. And several countries, I know many countries, research agencies and people across the world, they are invest heavily in last decade or so that how to develop an alternative approach. People are trying biological approach, chemical approach, electrochemical approach, nanotechnology based approach. But I'm happy that India is leading in this and India is creating path so that others can walk on. So that's a happy moment for me.
Wonderful. Again, one more question about this. The patent being given free for farmers or for public use. So, what is the thought process when you say this? Because it can be also commercially done, and you could have made maybe huge money from this patent. But you coming from a family of farmers, maybe that is the vision when you have this. What can you tell us?
So I have seen the farmers struggle at the very first hand because I have born and raised at the farm field. So when I was in discussion with IFO or the government of India, or when I was writing letter to government of India, I was already having millions of dollars of offers with me that people are interested in my work and technology to hire me or take my technology to the commercial scale. But my intention was that how I can bring my technology or knowledge in a sustainable way so that farmers can afford it. In fact, uh, when I written a letter to the Honorable Prime Minister, I mentioned that I will not charge, and this is my give back to my society or the country, because I did my schooling, masters, PhD, everything by the in the government school, and I understand that all those schools are running, all those facilities are running by the payment made by the Indian income taxpayers. So this was my responsibility to give back to the society, and to the community where I belong, which is like a farming community. So this is I do, I sometimes in media or people say it's free, but I feel that it is not free. I think the country made an investment in me, so that I got educated in this great country and by the great teachers. And this is just a give back. I'm just giving back to the country as their investment, return on their investment. So uh, I would say I could have earned more, but I would say that it's a return on investment to the country. And I feel satisfied that people are using it across the country, and most of the people are seeing the good results. So I'm very happy with that.
Wonderful, Dr. Ali. I have no words. I wish, rather, we wish that many researchers also think like this. This is a new, refreshing way of thinking. Uh, at the same time, you also mentioned about more needs to be done for lab to land, because a lot of research is happening. But I read somewhere your article that your quote also, that more needs to be done so that the research, what is happening in the laboratory, must reach the field, the farmers, or the end users. Can you explain this?
Uh, yeah, so couple days back, I just mentioned that because I was attending a conference, and often when I attend or interact with the people, or read the papers, we always come across that this particular research increase the yield by XYZ%, or increase the crop protection, or improving that particular trait or nutritional quality, and so on. Then the question comes in my mind that because this is a very urgent requirement for the world to get this product out, but if we follow the trend and professors, laboratories, research, and oftentimes we see that the research is not actually translated from lab to land, and research paper remains as a paper or a concept or an idea which has been tested, proved, but remain in the laboratory level. Uh, in my opinion, it is very important to understand the customer problem, because when we do the business, we think about customers. And when I say customer, it is not for earning the money, but customer of your work, of your ideas, of your thoughts. Like who should perceive your ideas and thoughts, whether it is industry leaders, whether it is end consumers like farmers in case of like agriculture inputs. So it is very important when we do research to get the feedback from these customers, whether it is industry or policymakers or farmers, and then how can we translate those things? Because when we develop the product, we have to ensure that it meets the regulatory requirement of the law of the land, whether it is any part of the geography of this world. Every country has their own rules and regulations, but most of the countries has some uniform law talking on certain basic things, that if it is fertilizer, how to translate it, or if it is pesticide, how to translate it. So we have to meet the regulatory requirement, and then how can we make the product affordable so that those customers can afford it? Because when we develop the new technology, oftentimes these technologies, when we do research in laboratory, we use high research grade chemicals, which are more expensive. And when we translate to the field, then it has to be affordable manner so that a mass population can adopt it. Because if something is really, really expensive and really, really good, it may not penetrate the market, may not reach to the farm field because farmers may not be able to afford it, and they will go to the alternate route which is more cheaper, which may not be good for the crop or environment or by themselves, but they will go for them because they cannot afford the technology. So affordability, getting continuous feedback from the industry policymakers, from the customers, and then the collaboration, because collaboration is another third important point, that you talk to diverse range of people. For example, you work on fertilizer, you talk to the people who work on animal research, people who work on environmental research, because when we develop a particular product interact with a system, and the system consists of environment, system consists of microbiologist, uh, system consists of human health, system consists of environmental health, faith. So that is very important to translate the research in a rapid manner. So I think collaboration is the key, and feedback is the another important criteria to get it translated.
Very well said, Dr. Ramesh. I was also looking at the details that you have so many patents. It's your how do you channelize your energy towards research? Because it's mind-boggling that you are, of course, your entire focus is on developing new technologies which are useful to people, as you mentioned. That is your life mission. You have so many patents in your name.
Uh, yeah, I have several applications, patent applications granted or pending. I think now about 20 patents and applications, more than 100 research articles, and so on. Uh, uh, these things inspire me to like work more and get it translated in a right way. Sometimes people ask that why do we need to patent it? But the thing is, the patent is required so that you can translate the technology in your terms, because uh, some people has the economic aspects behind it. For me, it is translating through the right hands, uh, because if you have the technology, if the technology is covered, market is covered by certain rights, intellectual property rights, and somebody is translating at very high cost, then actually, uh, if your mission is to serve the people, then you cannot. Because in my opinion, people might have their own opinion, but in my understanding and opinion, and the upbringing my parents put in me, that money is not important, the impact is important. uh, how can we use our knowledge and resources to create the impact on the society for the benefits of the of the at large, at the larger community, how we can create the impact using knowledge. So that is the prime motto, which keep inspiring me to find the questions, look for their answers, and find another question in the answer. So that is the continuation process, I think.
It's superb. You travel so much. In fact, you have just returned from US. You also attend a lot of conferences, similar kind of research, also like-minded research scientists. You are always with them. How the outside world looks at Dr. Ramesh Raliya's achievement?
Uh, I attend the conferences, meetings, and different laboratories, industry partners, and uh, several places of my interest. Because when I go there, I learned several things. The one thing is you get the feedback from other peers in your group, that what people are thinking about your research. what are the questions, and then you also learn about their work, because conferences oftentimes provides you the platform to exchange your ideas, develop new collaborations, and find out new questions, so that you can test them by themselves, or you can collaborate with them so that you can do the complement on them. uh, I think we face a lot of questions as a scientist, because when you do the new work or entirely new work, because that is what innovation is, that you are reporting something first time, then it is certain that a lot of people has curiosity in their mind, and science and innovation are driven by the curiosity. So I like the questions, and we also ask the questions sometimes, and those questions actually help us to understand the gaps, and then we again work on those gaps, and that's how we keep developing and improving the technologies. So I appreciate my colleagues for their assistance and appreciation, but I appreciate more when people ask the questions, because that is a challenge to my work, and that helps me to further develop and further refine the product and technologies we develop.
Okay. Just going back to your childhood, I was reading that you used to go to your school perhaps 5 kilometers away from your home to in the village or in your rural area. How was this setting? You studied throughout in government school only. That's what I read, and you were also telling that. So, can you tell us how do you recall your childhood?
Uh, I'm very proud of my parents that they helped me to go to school even in such extreme economic situations. Uh, I knew that it was a very hardship for my family to earn, and even in that situation, they helped me to get the education. I studied my entire education in the government and school and government colleges. And one of the reason behind that like before sixth, seventh class, even I was not having enough knowledge that what is the difference between government and private school. But my parents put me in government school. After class sixth, I understood that in government school, the qualified teacher actually teaches you. So I was always very happy and proud on my teachers who were teaching me, and that is true that my farmhouse was very far away from the school. So every day we walk, and at that time there was no roads as well. Until class 10th, I every day walk to the school, and going to the school and coming back, and working with the farmers also in the field, working with the parents on the farm field. So that was a kind of routine in the childhood, but I enjoyed that. That actually inspire me and even inspire me today as well. That these things actually makes you strong. These things doesn't make you less or weak. I think these possibilities makes you more strong, and these things also inspire me that whatever the resources you have, how you can use those resources in an optimum manner to translate your thought process and how you handle that situation. Because if you have everything ready on your plate, then you don't have to do anything. So I love creating.
Wonderful. See, you always remember your roots, which are very strong. You have very strong roots, and you also go back to roots again and again, perhaps to get feedback, to test your hypothesis or your innovations, your products. They get tested, and you get feedback from farmers also. How was the reaction of your family to the great innovation? In fact, it is innovation of Nano Urea followed by Nano DAP.
Uh, I think my parents are very happy, and they feel proud the work I'm doing, and I'm very much grateful to entire family members for their immense support and motivation to me. But I would like to mention interesting story that My parents are testing nano materials or nano fertilizers, which I developed in lab quite a long ago, even before it was before I started talking to the industry or started talking to the people, because I wanted to test my product's performance, that how it is performing really on the farm field. So I used to give the small amount of samples to my parents and they test it and give it to me. But I would like to mention the first instance when I sent a bottle of product to them and I asked them to test, and they actually did not test. They thought that it it is not going to work. Uh, and next time I requested them that you test. It is a sponsored product, and they are giving some amount of money along with this bottle, so that even you don't get your crop, you will get this money. So please test this product. And so I'm very happy that they are the first one who actually test my research products always. And they are my extension researcher. I term them sometime extension researcher to my parents. I think they are
Wonderful.
quite happy now.
Great. That means your parents are the first users of your product.
Yeah,
That,
yeah, and
that's
yeah, that's how, because before you go out and talk to other people and tell about your work, I get a very critical feedback from my parents, and my mom is quite critical about the observations कि पौधा बड़ा नहीं हो रहा है और हरा नहीं हो रहा है, या जड़ बड़ी नहीं हो रही है, and she is not afraid to uproot her plants and send taking the pictures and sending to me. She might have thousands of pictures of my products tested with her. So I'm sometimes when I need the picture, I talk to her that, "Hey, can you send me pictures of that year, that month which you used that product?" So she is very good at archiving those as well.
wonderful, wonderful. Uh, so touching also. It's very, very important. Dr. Ramesh, again, going back to the research, what is being done by thousands of researchers, students across universities, institutions, particularly in India. So, can you tell us what is your view? How the research is being done in our institutions and universities? So many of them, so much of research is happening. So, where is it going? What is happening to this research?
Uh, I think people are making the great efforts in their specialization and area of their work, but there is always an chance to improve. One important thing which the happy trend I am seeing in last several years, that people are uh, publishing more, they are patenting more, and they are uh, registering their company and translating the patents through the startups. And governments across the country, state governments, various state governments, central governments, supporting those ideas and innovations. Also, in last decade, I see and witnessed that several venture capitalists also supporting, or industry partners also support those kind of research to get it translated. Uh, I would say to have like more rapid translation, the collaboration is the key, because we have multiple layer of institutes. We have public institutes, we have private institutes, and in public institutes we also have institutes like NITs, IITs, central universities, Institute of Eminence, like that, and then the state universities. Oftentimes, I have seen that state universities lacks the resources in terms of instrumentation, and but I have, because I was a student of a state university, and I find myself sometimes that we don't have a particular technique to analyze my sample or test my samples, and sometimes it is very difficult to collaborate with the people at IIT or NIT or central universities that, hey, I have a sample and want to test it. So government has developed some central instrumentation facility centers, but going forward I would pray and request that if we can install more central instrumentation and research facility center where people can collaborate, can easily access the research instruments, and industry can also support them so that Indian researchers can translate their research in much better way and much more rapidly. I can say that in terms of publication in nanotechnology, India is in the top five country in the world. The thing is how we can become the top five or top one in the translating those research into the product form. Because if we don't translate the idea from lab to land or lab to real world practice, then that investment is dead. That you did the research, you generate the knowledge, and now the knowledge is in form of books or in form of papers. The requirement is how we can get that research to the testing in the real world application, and that our country is required immensely because we are the most populous country on this planet, and uh, people across the world I have interacted in so many countries that they have great expectation from India. Usually people looking India as a market, but now people looking India as an innovation provider, technology provider, besides human resource provider. So it's our time that we invest more in translating the technologies from laboratory to the real world applications.
That is super. In fact, very well put. The vision also for the research in India, actually, thanks for sharing your ideas. From now on, where do we see Dr. Ramesh Raliya, say, few years ahead? So, what is your ambition and goal from now on? Next, what is your career path or your life ahead for next 10 years or so? Can you give us some inkling?
Uh, I don't know
Where,
where
where,
I
where,
will
where
go.
do you, where can we see Dr. Ramesh Raliya? We would like to see you get the best of awards for the path-breaking innovations you have done, because which has huge impact for crores of people in India. In fact, other countries also. It's a product for the humanity, isn't it? So where do we see Dr. Ramesh Raliya a few years from now?
Uh, in terms of recognition, I see my best recognition when I get a feedback from farmers or uh, who are the end user of the products and technologies that something helped them or on their farm or whatever the product they have used of my research, and when they give the feedback that it actually solved their problem, that is actually my best recognition. I feel if my work and knowledge can bring happiness or smile to any person, that is my best goal. In the future years to come, I feel there are a lot of questions and challenges the world is facing because of climate change, antimicrobial resistance, uh, crop productivity issue, the nutritional quality issue, water pollutions, energy crisis, so and precision agriculture. So we are working with diverse range of people in many countries and testing our products and concepts. So I would say that I will collaborate with people across on these pressing problems and will try to give my input and assistance, whatever the knowledge I know or generate, so that we can bring some more products to the world so that we can solve some of the problems or create some path so that others can walk on that.
Thank you,
Rest is
Dr.
in the
Ramesh. That
rest
is
is
very,
in the
of
hand
course.
of God who gives
Yeah,
us
that
the
is.
timeline to work on.
So we wish and we are sure that enough recognition, what is due to you, will happen. It's question of time only. Which are the American universities you are associated during your research or through this period?
Uh, I was associated with Washington University in St. Louis. I was having collaboration in other universities like University of Miami, Washington University, Virginia Tech. University of California, Davis, and also Berkeley University and USDA. So a lot of with several institutes or colleagues, I'm working with them or exploring opportunities to get it translated, few products and technologies.
Dr. Ramesh, it's wonderful to talk to you. You have given us a lot of insights into the way you think at the problems and how do you solve the problems for the common good, public welfare. It's actually touching that the way a researcher looks at the welfare of people and the common good at your heart when you take up research. So this is the message perhaps for thousands of researchers across India and other places also, that we only hope more and more researchers take your ideas, take your thought processes, and get motivated by your thinking. Thank you very much, Dr. Ramesh, for joining today and sharing your ideas.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving me an opportunity. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.